boys and girls, it's Shane and Ransom and Jennifer. We're somewhere really she's beautiful, isn't she? Look at her dinosaurs. We're somewhere really cool right now, and I want to tell you about the story of this place. So one of our favorite places to visit is cemeteries. We love to go to cemeteries, and this one is very small, isolated, fields that are unkept. This is in the middle of nowhere. This little town near here probably has 400 or 500 people in it, tops. This graveyard is special, though. It's connected to both the Masonic Lodge, the Mormon Church, or the Church of Latter-day Saints, and also the biggest massacre in American history up until the Oklahoma City event occurred in 1996, I think was when that happened. And what this is the gravesite of Parley Pratt. He didn't live in Arkansas, but it's here in Arkansas. He was an important figure for the Mormon Church, and they still come and maintain this. From what I understand, some people make pilgrimages to this spot. He would have been in the top leadership right there with Joseph Smith and Brigham Young when the Mormon Church was still young and first emerging. And from this site, we can see the Masonic Temple right here. And that's not a coincidence. The reason why this is so close to the Masonic Temple is kind of a fascinating story. Parley Pratt was taking a wife, one of his many wives, and he found out, and this is how I've been told it, somebody that's a historian might be able to correct me. This wife that he had taken, she was already married, as it turned out. And so for him to feel good about marrying her, he decided he needed to bring her back east and go through the divorce process and make sure that she was completely divorced and free of her ex, who was supposedly abusive. So he traveled back east with her in order to get all this paperwork and everything sorted out. But the man, the ex, decided he didn't like Parley Pratt being with his wife, so he wanted to seek out vengeance on them. Parley decided it would be safest to send his wife down the Mississippi River and to a steamer that would go around South America and back to San Francisco to get west. While he took the Butterfield stagecoach route, which went right through this town and led the man away so his wife could escape safely. And apparently the man pursuing him was a Mason, a high-level Mason, and asked for favors of the local Masonic lodges and got him, what is it, dear?
It's also known as Old Wire Road.
Old Wire Road, yes, where the telegraph lines would have been, but I don't think the telegraphs were there yet.
No, they weren't.
Yeah, so I think it would have been your Butterfield stagecoach route at that point. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on any of this. But he was a high-level Mason and had the local courts arrest and hold Parley and tried to get him hung by the famous hanging Judge Parker. And apparently Judge Parker refused because there wasn't any evidence, but did hold him for a period of time. When he was released, he decided it was okay to go ahead and backtrack back to St. Louis and then go south down the Mississippi River and follow his wife the previous way. But here, about 10 miles from Van Buren, from the court where he would have been released, as he passed this Masonic Lodge that was on the way, he was jumped and unalived and left here to rot. Which, what is it, dear?
The word is bushwhacked.
He was bushwhacked. That's a good word. I like that. So he was bushwhacked, and that may have been the end of it if he was just an ordinary fellow, but his connection to the Masonic Church meant that this wasn't just over at that. And what made it worse was the local newspaper, and many of the people around here were not very fond of the weird religion of Mormonism, so they printed a scathing article in the paper that talked about how everybody is better off because one less Mormon is breathing air. And people took copies of that and sent it back to Utah. And when people saw that in Utah, they decided they needed to get some vengeance from people from Arkansas. And they don't know one part of Arkansas from another, just like you probably don't unless you're from here. So a wagon train from about 3 hours away from this area happened to be passing through Utah around that time. They hired some native peoples to attack this wagon train. So the Mormons said, we'll take care of it, no worries, and put on U.S. military uniforms and went out to the wagon train and told them they've negotiated peace. Everybody just needs to lay down their arms and they've got them protected from the natives. Just come over this hillside and everything's going to be okay. Obviously, the wagon train folks were relieved and thought everything was going to be okay. Of course, they thought wrong, because what happened when they went over the hill was everyone over the age of 12 was unalived, and everybody under the age of 12 was adopted into Mormon families by force. And it's always interesting to get to know the history of your area and the impacts and the things across the world that may happen due to misunderstandings.
Dad, I want to go see Weird Al.
Okay, fine, we'll go see Weird Al Yankovic. Nothing bad's gonna happen with Weird Al Yankovic around, right? Let's go.